Good evening, you guys. What's going on? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast. Welcome to episode 21 of Basketball Conversations. Salute the entire LDBC and the basketball community. You understand what I'm saying? You know, it's unfortunate we don't have any live basketball to talk about here. Because this would be the time to get ready for the NBA playoffs. But you know what? This COVID 19 pandemic has paused up everything, but we're just going to go ahead and keep on pushing. You know what I mean? That's the best thing we could do at this particular point in time. All right. But with no further ado, let's get on to it. Let's get down to it. All right. So, what I've been kind of hearing about what's been going on, you know, around this week though, is that as we see my boy LB in the house today, salute LB. Let me get you a wrench there, LB. That's the correspondent with Ticket TV. Let's patch him up with a wrench. There you go, LB. There you go. Now, let's get down to the business here, okay? So, I've been kind of was scoping around and found out some news that Rudy Gobert has kind of cut off all communication with his Utah teammates because of what's been going on with the pandemic thing, man. Because as you guys mostly know, Rudy Gobert was the first guy to be diagnosed with the COVID-19 virus, and unfortunately, he spread it towards Mr. Donovan Mitchell here. Yep, no problem, LB, no problem, man. No problem, man, whatsoever. You always welcome right here on this channel, though, man. Always welcome you. But let's continue on pushing, though. Okay, that's why I see my brother Marquise Johnson in the building. Yes, sir. Welcome, welcome. So it's been rugged to my attention that that I think Rudy Gobert, to me, from my perspective, in my opinion at least, is like he's going through a bit of a guilty phase of what's been going on because he kind of feels like he's responsible to passing on the pandemic, passing on the COVID-19 uh, virus to Donovan Mitchell. And I've heard that they haven't been on speaking terms, even though it's been reported that they kind of rekindled their beef a little bit. But I think the damage has already been done. Now, if Rudy Gobert goes around in trading blocks, there's still going to be a lot of teams that are going to want a guy like a Rudy Gobert on their team. He's not going to get you much offensively, but he's a very excellent defender. He blocks shots, he commands the paint. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. And I think that right now, there's going to be some teams that are going to be looking for him. And I agree with LB 100% that he was irresponsible for it. I'm gonna get into the irresponsible thing in just a moment, LB, because you brought that up. I'm gonna bring that up in just a few minutes here. Hold on. There's still gonna be some teams that are gonna need a shot blocker. That's gonna need a good interior defender. And I don't know. I know that Boston could be looking for one. You know what I mean? I think another team that could really use one though too right now. I don't know. Maybe the Miami Heat, depending on what they're going to give up there too. This could be other teams that could be using his services there too. But even though he did the very wrong thing to do, I'm not going to go in hard on him. Now we're going to get into that subject right here, right now. Okay. Here's my problem with this situation. I agree 100% that Rudy Gobert was very irresponsible for passing on the disease. I should not say not disease, the virus to Donovan Mitchell and maybe possibly other members of the Utah Jazz organization. That was very irresponsible on that end. But it's not like he was like the main culprit or he was the guy that was responsible for spreading the virus to all the players in the NBA. Because there's still other players around the league that have not, revealed that they got the virus or not. And I think that to me shows a bit of irresponsibility on the part of the players. Now, it's going to create a compromising situation where the players are going to be stuck in a position where now they're going to have to be fighting to keep their salaries now. And this is the subject I'm going to get into in a little bit here. But Rudy Gobert, he's not going to get he's not going to get blackballed, as I see the crazy man George Page down here in the building. George Page, if you want to come on here, just say I want to come on here. You want to chop it up? I'll send you the wrench, and you want to chop it up right here and now. Here's my thing in the situation, though, bro. Here's my thing. Okay, Rudy Gobert was very irresponsible. No doubt in my mind, he was very irresponsible for what he did. Okay, but it's not like he's the main corporate blame in this whole entire thing, because there's still players out there right now that have not admitted that they got the COVID-19 virus, which kind of shows a little bit of the irresponsibility on the player side of things. If you got the COVID-19 virus, just admit that you do, so that way they can crack it down and see and making sure that no one else gets it. But this creates a very difficult position because with the league shut down right now the owners are trying to scrap up every single penny that they can get, whatever reason they may have, because they want to make sure they don't want to pay extra money toward the workers and towards the players. And they're trying to convince the players to pay back the money, pay back their salaries. And I have a problem with that because nobody's going to ain't nobody going to tell me that, listen, you signed this guaranteed contract. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden now the owners are going to ask you, "Oh, it's time for you to pay up the money that you were supposed to be getting from those kids." Man, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Okay. All right, George Page, if you want in. All right. You want in? No problem. All right. Let me get down the link here a second here. Okay. Okay. There you go. And if LB, you want to jump in though too, you can click on this link though too as well. All right. Hop on in here if you want to. All right. Now, I'm afraid that now this is something that's going to haunt Rudy Gobert for a very, very long time, because now, as my man LB has correctly said it, he's going to be the face of this virus, and that's absolutely 100% correct. Because now, it's because right now that reputation is going to continue to haunt him down for a long time, and it's unfair. And absolutely, LB. Why should the players pay back their salaries? Listen, it's not like NFL contracts where you have to earn your salary. You know what I mean? And some players get guaranteed contracts, sometimes can get guaranteed money. No, NBA salaries, I should say NBA contracts are guaranteed salary under the rules of the collective bargaining agreement. So how can you say, listen, how can you say to the players, we need you to pay back this percentage back to your salaries? That absolutely makes no sense. As I see my brother LB in the building. Salute, LB. It's the first time I met you, man.
What up, Mahari, man? Salute to you, homie. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely, though, bro. It's the first time we ever get to talk together, though, bro. As I see my man George Page in here, I'm gonna get you into George Page in just a second. But yeah, bro, listen, I've been struggling to think, why would the owners want the players to pay back their salaries? To me, it makes literally no sense, because if you're asking the players to pay up this kind of percentages, what's the incentive behind it? What do you think about this?
Man, I think the owners being cheap right now. You know what I'm saying? These guys are worth billions of dollars. You know?
Correct.
And then on top of that, look, these guys, that makes absolutely no sense to me. These owners right here want to, hoard every dime or whatnot. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they still got to pay these employees or whatever. But my thing is, if you got Joel Embiid donating $500,000 of his own money, right, and then you got the owner coming right behind him saying, "No, we're not going to pay the players." I mean, what the hell is that all about? You had James Dolan in New York, hoo-hamming, and I wonder if we're going to pay the employees, and I mean, it's just like, come on, man, you guys are being extremely cheap and extremely disgusting right now.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agreed here. As I see my man George Page in the building now. George Page, what's going on, my brother?
Well, like I said, you called on the thunder. Where here I am.
George Page, though, bro. Hey, no crazy stuff in this live stream. You understand? You gotta keep yourself ahead.
I'll keep saying for a minute. But the thing is that the owners, like, you remember with that asshole that called Maggie, they called Maggie Johnson an N-word because his girlfriend was hanging around with him.
Donald Sterling, yeah.
Those guys are about as worse as the owners in the NFL. They just like this. Their mindset is like, you big black bloods, you play, you don't need to say nothing. and and many of them are, they never really, most of them don't really ever have to work a day in their life. Only person I really liked that was a really great owner is Jerry Buss.
Yep.
He was a he was a great owner. He, like, when Magic got sick, he came out. He was stood beside Magic. And I mean, if he was still alive when Don Stutter did that mess, he would have whooped his ass. That Magic was like a second son to him. He treated him like that. But the thing is, what happened with Rudy is that he picked his virus. Most people probably thought he just had flu. And remember Michael Jordan, he played with the flu one time. Who else played with the flu? That time, I think Kobe did. There's been players that played sick. No one really expected by this virus. Now they want to make the man like the new Typhoid Mary.
Hmm. Right, exactly, though, bro. Definitely agree with you on that. So let me ask you this, though, LB. So with this whole thing going on here, do you believe that the station should just be canceled altogether and just reset for next year?
In a way, I do believe so, and this is why. So if you pick up the lead back in, say, like you pick the lead back up in like July or August time frame, right?
Correct.
This is going to affect next season as well because you still gotta do the draft. You still gotta do summer league if you're still going to do that. Then you still gotta do free agent signings, training camp, preseason in the next year, and then you roll right on into next season. So if you're going to do all that, you're talking like league play picking back up in like December, January.
Yeah, man. I mean, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, the thing is, though, it's like you're trying to salvage a season that's not even worth salvaging at this point. Because if you decide, let's put it like this: if you decide to pick up the season in June and July, not many people are going to be interested in playing. And plus, where are you going to play? Because there's not.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
my bad. I'm sorry for cutting you off because I was about to allude to that part also. So it's already daunting enough to try to deconflict the schedule because in these arenas, NBA is not the only thing going on in these arenas. You got WWE, you got UFC, you got concerts, you got
Hmm.
Disney on Ice. So you got to deconflict all that, and it's even more daunting when you have multiple teams playing in the same arena.
Yep.
And then also you got to put the fact is you're going to clash with Major League Baseball and also and the NFL because this should be time where baseball should be starting up
Yep.
and will be long to be into the pennant season, and then football they got the preseason, and then they will be long for they be into their championship season. And and like I said, it's going to be a split. You're going to, I think, like that's why sports be separate. You have when baseball's coming up, basketball's about to end, and then when football starts up, baseball's about almost at its end. So
Hmm.
you'll be clashing. That wouldn't work. I mean, you're gonna have people want to, like guys who have the season tickets. Say, I want to see the Lakers. No, I want to see the Angels. Oh, I want to see the Rams, and it be clash. It's not gonna work. You might as well just say take the L, and just start over. Like I say, I'm a bodybuilding fan, and most of my season is going to be start all over. Some shows going to start a little later in the season, but generally a lot of competitions that's done over with the next year.
Hmm. Definitely agree with you right there. Now that leads me to another great point, though, because just this week, though, the UFC canceled their card because of the risk concerns of COVID-19 virus. You heard about that, though, George? Let's lead in on that, though, bro. Talk to me about that a
Yeah,
little bit.
you know that Danny White got bitch made by the mouse.
Yep. Hey, tell me about it, man. Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like Mickey, like like make movie references, and Mickey's like Paulie O'Donnell for Goodfellas. You don't call it Paulie. You talk straight to Paulie, and ESPN was a go-to man. They just that was how that worked. You know, and Dana should know better. You don't have to wait this little fantasy island or try to get it onto some Indian reservation because the Indian reservations don't have to follow under federal laws, but still, you get how you going to travel there. I mean,
Hmm.
most of the trains are shut down, planes, buses, boats. There's no way. And then you talk about how Khabib he don't want to travel because hey, he can get Russian lockdown. He gonna let Khabib go out of there. Rose don't want to go because she's had two family members just died from disease, and other fighters who have common sense don't want to take a chance of getting sick. You got to think about it. You can fight these people. You got to fight a guy for like 5 minutes. You're in. He's gonna bleed on you. He's gonna sweat on you, and you don't know. The COVID 19. You don't know anybody really has it, and it looks the same as having the flu or pneumonia. I mean, it just don't make sense. You don't want to risk your life. I understand it's hard to make money. I understand you're broke. I understand struggling, but you don't want to risk your life for short change and then it's over.
Yep, definitely agreed. As we see CH Combat Sports Coach Selton Harris in the house, though, bro. Salute to you, sir. Now, let me go into LB, though, bro, because the thing is, though, is like if the UFC decided to try to pull out this card, though, it could have created a huge, earthquake effect on the other sports. Like if Dana White could do that, what are we? Why don't we decide to put it on a specific place, though, bro? But eventually, it didn't make no sense, though. What do you think about that, though, Mr. LB?
Yeah, I think Disney, ESPN did the right thing. With this whole pandemic going on right now, I mean, there's no testing available the way you can. Someone can get tested, and they detect that virus right off the bat. It just makes a completely volatile situation. Plus, there was also a report that you had high-profile boxers wanting to jump in that UFC realm as well for a short-term contract. So it was just look. I will, ain't too many times I agree with ESPN on this one, but I think they got it right. And then on top of that, the whole logistics about how they're going to get there, how you going to, TV right deals. It was just, like I said, it's just a logistics nightmare that ESPN didn't want to deal with.
Yep, definitely agreed, though. So I'm going to conclude this by saying this. The NBA right now is basically in a compromised position that they've never been in before. But morally, they have to do the right thing, because if they decide we're just going to continue on, we're just going to hold it off until until the whole pandemic thing is all over with. Well, the problem is you don't know how long this will go. This could take a whole year, because most states right now, they haven't reached their peak season yet, except for New York, for California, or other states. Because I can tell you right now, Minnesota has not yet reached its peak yet of the whole COVID-19 virus. So we don't know how long this pandemic will continue on, and plus we don't know what kind of new regulations that the U.S. government is going to enforce to try to make sure that the virus does not spread around, especially particularly in sports arenas where they carry millions of people. A lot of things you got to be thinking about. But
Yeah.
Go ahead, George. You got to say you had something to say.
Like I said, Minnesota, y'all are more farther out, and then you got Dakotas, the Wyomings, the more not as populated states. It's gonna, it would take them a longer time to get to places like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. Those states are bigger, and maybe not as big, but they're more populated. There's more people in those states, like Florida, and they have a stupid governor. My God, he's an idiot. He's one of those Trump supporters. He's thinking that, we'll get everything back by Easter. No, don't waste somebody's life like that. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I get tired when he comes on, Donald Trump, talking about, I don't want to hear from you. Shut your mouth. Tell that race banner looking ass Mike Pence to step aside and let the doctors say something. Let the experts say something. I want to hear from them. When SARS and Zika and
H1N1.
when swine flu hit, Obama, he came a couple of times. He stepped aside. He let the specialist experts speak, because he knew, he yielded to people who was more educated than him in that situation. The problem with Donald Trump, he does not have that ability. He wants to be seen. And that's why a lot of these networks have decided not to show his briefings, because they get tired of his ass and his mouth. And I hate to say it, he might even become president again. If he is, America's not going to be any better than it was. It's not.
Yep, definitely agreed right there. So now we're going to switch topics at hand here, because I think we killed this subject down to a science. Now we're going to get into the Hall of Fame discussion, though, because I don't know, man. I was kind of inspired from the Ticket TV's discussion, though, yesterday. I mean, he was talking about, several guys should be in the Hall of Fame, though. But I want to start with LB, though, too, first, because, this year we got a deep class. We got KG, Duncan and Kobe in the Hall of Fame. Then you got Rudy Tomjanovich, and then you got I hate this. That women's coach from Baylor, who I hate so much because she's just is a two-faced hypocrite. But you know what I mean. But and also Tamika Catches though too. But let me ask you this though, Mr. LB, since you're the correspondent for Ticket TV's show. I mean, what other names that you think that should be awarded into the Hall of Fame? What do you think?
Well, one person I think that should be in the Hall of Fame is Rasheed Wallace. You can't ignore the contributions he has done on the basketball court. Another thing, obviously, I think Chris Bosh would get in. I didn't think he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he is a Hall of Famer. He is a Hall of Famer, but he's just not a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. As far as like other names, oh man, I'm catching a brain fart right now. But as far as like other notable names, let's see. I would like Damon Stoudemire to be in. A lot of people forgot about him. He was a really good player back in the day. He was drafted in that same draft class as Kevin Garnett. I think he was like drafted like seventh overall out of Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And so who else?
How about Tim Hardaway Sr.?
Definitely Tim Hardaway should be in the Hall of Fame. Definitely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know why they're not putting him in? Because they're punishing him for that that anti-gay interview he had on the Dan Elbatar show back in 2007. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. But my thing is, look, when someone, and this is what I don't like about these voters and whatnot, because if y'all, I know you know Ibn Mahar, but I don't know if you know George Page. A lot of voters are media members.
Yep,
Now,
they are.
A lot of matter of fact, if you go on NBA.com, they have a link that you can see everybody that's voted for whoever when it comes to the Player of the Year and MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA, this thing and the next thing, right? So when it comes to Hall of Fame credentials and or whatever, it should be limited to what you did on the court, what you did on the outside. Whether you have some, whether you want to be who you want to be on the outside, things that you said on a podcast, whatnot, that should not be a criteria or a determining factor as to whether or not an individual should get in the Hall of Fame.
And so, LB, you telling me? So you telling me these people who have not played an ounce of ball, who never ever been a coach, a referee, a player, chooses who's going to be the Hall of Fame instead of 4 players, referees, coach, even managers who've been in the sport, who played the sport and understand the sport.
More often than not. And a lot of these guys that never played a basketball, never played a bit of basketball in their life. You got 3-time pork chop eating champion Brian Windhorst that will sit up there and make disparaging comments, disrespecting these players, but yet this dude has never dribbled a basketball a day in their life. He will get a vote. People like Michelle Beadle will get a vote. What's that girl who hosts the jump? Rachel Nichols, she gets a vote.
You know what? You know what?
I could say go ahead, Abel.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, is that this is why I've had a huge problem with the Hall of Fame process for years for all sports. Like, listen, there's got to be a much clearer criteria about how you guys vote people in the Hall of Fame. It should not be. Your bias should not be in the way. You know what though? I'm gonna tell you a little bit of story, and I'm gonna pass it on to George Page real quick. I had a discussion with Lavelle E. Neal III, who works for the Star Tribune, who covers the Minnesota Twins, and I talked to him specifically. This was back when I was in college about the Barry Bonds issue. Unfortunately, he had Barry Bonds. His numbers. Everything should be a Hall of Famer. His attitude should not include anything. But unfortunately, these media people are basically self-pity type of people that place so much favoritism. And, for years, these writers have continuously blackballed Barry Bonds from the Hall of Fame, not giving him the 70% requirement to induct him into the Hall of Fame. The same for Roger Clemens. But when it comes to basketball, there has to be a much more clear criteria because we're seeing mediocre names. I mean, no disrespect to Vlade Divac, but how is he a Hall of Famer?
Exactly.
How is Vlade Divac a Hall of Famer? And he only made one All-Star team. One All-Star team. How are you a Hall of Famer?
It's like making Jerry Clooney in the Hall of Fame for boxing.
Thank you. Thank you. And let me also say this, though, and let me say this too, LB, and I'm gonna say this real quick. How can the writers with a straight face tell me that Chris Webber, Chris Bosh, Tim Hardaway Sr., Walter Davis, all right? How can you, and also, and I'm going to say this though too, Alvin Robertson. Remember, he's the only guy that's been on the all defensive team 4 times. And he was one of the best defensive guards in the
Yep.
80s, despite the fact that he got himself into trouble off the court.
Yep.
How is it? How come they're not in? And how come Dino Harada from the Celtics back in the '90s is in the Hall of Fame? How do you explain that to me?
Man, I don't explain. I don't understand that. And then you got these same buffoons that talk about Draymond Green should be a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Triple Single himself, they're talking about this guy being the Hall of Fame. Look, if he gets in the Hall of Fame before guys like Robert Ory and Adrian Dantley and hell, I even throw a wild card name in there, Vinnie Johnson, the microwave. If that clown get in before those guys, then I got a serious problem with that.
And you know what though, LB? Mark Aguirre's not even in the Hall of Fame, and he was one of the top 5 scorers in the '80s, carrying that mediocre Dallas Mavericks franchise to the conference finals, but ran into Magic Johnson. How is he not in the Hall of Fame? And while these others are,
Another guy that was on that team back then was Derek Harper. You know, why is Derek Harper not in the Hall of Fame?
Thank you.
Why not Derek Fisher?
Derek Fisher. I don't know about Derek Fisher because he wasn't a primetime scorer, though, in my opinion. So I don't think he would. I think he was just a good role player, but he didn't do enough to solidify his Hall of Fame status. But I'll tell you another name that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame: Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace, a guy that basically was an undersized center and won the Defensive Player of the Year at least 4 or 5 times. How come he's not in the Hall of Fame? I just don't get it. But let me hear from George Page though, bro. What's your thoughts about the Hall of Fame list, and who do you think should get in from your perspective, sir?
Well, if you're gonna put a woman, she might put in Pat Summitt. She deserves to be in there because
Course.
she has the longest record for any woman, just for more than Mike. I use greasing hair
Mike
dye. And I think I'm trying to think of someone who's good. Maybe Robert Ory. God, I know is John Stockton in it?
Oh, he's already in.
He's already in it. Most of John Stockton's gonna be in it. Danny Ainge. I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Christian Laettner. I don't like Christian Laettner. I've never been a fan of Duke. I'm a USC fan. I'm from Carolina. I'm a USC fan. I don't like the dark blue. I like the light blue. And maybe I'm trying to think of some good ones. There's some great ones.
How about Kevin Johnson of the Phoenix Suns?
Okay, right there. That's a good name right there. And I would throw in Charles Oakley.
That could be a tough sell, but I think he may have a case though. But I think that could be a tough sell. But by the way, Tay Brown asked you a question. What the hell is that? What the hell is that on your avatar?
That's Fred Burger from Billy and Mandy. Yes.
That's right. There you go. JMJ2121 says one of the few players that had a quadruple double was Alvin Robertson. There you go, man. Yeah, let me tell you something. Take the time to watch some Alvin Robertson games. You'll be impressed. He was one of those guys that if you started anything with him, he's gonna fuck you up though, bro. I read stories where he would fight you after the game. You heard about that though, LB?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, man, I heard about that. George, just to let you know, Pat Summitt, she's already in the Hall of Fame. She was inducted in 2000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what were we gonna say, George Page?
But Mahari, I'm gonna throw some. How about Meadowlark Lemon and Curly?
You mean Del Curry?
No, Curly Neal for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, yeah. Of course. I mean, come on, man. Yeah,
even though they don't play like major league basketball, the Globetrotters, most of them should be in it because they're the ones who kind of brought. Because they were the first. You can say like this: they were the first legitimate basketball team to go play in China, even
Yeah.
before the NBA.
You know what? Yeah, that's a really good point there. But these reporters, they don't do their homework, so
Yeah,
you
no,
know
they
what I
don't.
mean. And also, Tay Brown said, shaking my head, laughing my ass off of that Avatar.
Tell your wife, she watch more cartoons.
Okay. And JMJ21 says, is Cheryl Miller in the Hall of Fame? Of course,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because he's an Olympian. Yeah,
Oh my, oh my God. Cheryl Miller in today's WNBA, she would fuck everybody up. No, I'm
Mhm.
telling. I'm not kidding. I mean,
That
go ahead, George Page.
she should be a judge. Kick out
Who?
the Michelle B. Lloyd, like Sharon Miller. You can get Phil Jackson, whatever referee that was popular back then. That was good referee, or whatever real sports reporter that really played the sport and followed the sport should be judges.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
agree
no,
with that.
one person I think that's she has a vote already, but I would keep Doris Burke in that list of judges as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely so. Lawrence Williams says Shaq smacked Robertson. He's talking about rookie Shaq in his 93 when Alvin Robinson stood up to Shaq and then Shaq just smacked him in the face. That was hilarious.
Jack's big dude. We expect I did. Shaq is like, but
And smack. That was hilarious though, man.
yeah.
But yeah, though, guys. I mean, now that the Hall of Fame discussion is pretty much been killed, so next, and I think if April 19th, which is next week. Um, yep. Much love to you, Tay Brown. Stay safe out there, okay? We still
All
love
right,
you
good
out
night.
there. Yeah, we
Take
still
care of
love
them
you.
babies.
Oh my God, though, man. George, don't bring that up, all right?
No, that's right. He just
I understand. I understand. Now, we got the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary on the last dance, the final season of the Chicago Bulls. I'm sure that you guys have had some great memories off of that, though. But I wanted to ask you guys a particular question, though, and it's something that Too Raw for TV did on one of his videos, though, bro. Like, which was the toughest 3P run from your perspective? Which one was the toughest, though? I'm gonna start with LB, though. Which one do you think was the toughest one?
Um, Man, to me the toughest one was their first three-peat. Because to me those teams like the Lakers, the Portland Trailblazers, and the Phoenix Suns, all three of those teams were prominent teams in the '80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Jordan has gone through a lot of playoff failures prior to winning his first championship. He had to go. That Eastern Conference back in the '80s, especially the late '80s, was a gauntlet. You had the Celtics, you had the Pistons. They could never get past until they fired Doc Collins and hired Phil Jackson or what have you. So you know, for Michael Jordan and the Bulls to get over that hump the first time around, right? Um, was to me their toughest challenge as far as like winning the NBA championship. Now their second go around, most of that team was pretty much intact with the exception of a few pieces here and there. So when Michael came back after his layoff, they practically just picked up right where they left off. And the year that Michael Jordan took off due to the death of his father, you know, the only reason the Chicago Bulls lost to the Knicks back in the '94 playoffs was off a bad call. You know what I'm saying? Scottie Pippen was the
Mm-hmm.
MVP year that particular year, and had it not been for that bad call, I think the Bulls would have beaten the Houston Rockets in that NBA Finals.
You know what though, LB? When you talked about that call, my blood starts to boil every single fucking time. And let me tell you something right now. And I know I'm not supposed to talk about dead people like that, but fuck Q Hollins to his deathbed, bro. That was one of the most bogus calls I ever seen in my life, bro. Oh my god. How in the hell do you call that a foul after the shot was released? How do you call that? Oh my god, it was oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
my
That made my blood boy. It gave me bad memories, man. Oh,
Mahari, remember back then there was they busted a lot of referees that were in pockets of somebody. You might be one of those referees.
oh, good lord! I mean, Hugh Hollins, man. Look, let me tell you something. Hugh Hollins wanted to fuck the Bulls in the ass every single time that he officiate games, though, bro. I swear to God, though, man. Like, oh man. Okay, so let me pass on the question to George Bates. Which three
Yeah,
P team was the toughest one for you, from your perspective, sir?
I agree with LB because back then there was a lot of like I say you had the Suns, you had the Celtics, you had the Lakers. They were going strong then, and because when Jordan came back, it seemed like it was just easy for them to win that second three-peat. It
Mm.
wasn't as hard as it was harder the first because it took them a long time to get to where they were at because they struggled for a good bit. And then they get Phil Jackson, and then they start building, and then they say no, they won their first game, their first championship, and went two back, and then went two more after that. And then when he left, they kind of struggled. Tony Kukoc, I don't know why they even, I remember somebody was saying that, oh, when Jordan came back, said we don't need him, but then you turn around, you win three championships.
I mean, I'll tell you a little story about Tony Kukoc. I mean, Jerry Krause wanted to get this guy to just try to make him like the next superstar player for their team, whatever. But he was going to be a six man no matter what. But what they did to him in the Barcelona games, man, I thought they should have been arrested for robbery for the way they defended him that whole game in the Olympics. I mean, the way they harassed him, they shut him down. They said, I remember Pippen said, like, I saw Jerry Krause in Tony Kukoc's face. I was like, wow, really? Because they were paying Kukoc more money than Scottie Pippen, even though Pippen signed an
Mm-hmm.
extension a couple of seasons ago. Even and then he became the Bulls' fifth highest paid player. So in a sense, that was Pippen's own fault. He should have requested more, but
Yeah.
it is
He
what
should,
it is, though, man.
because you should step up and say, hey, you know what, Michael Jordan's going to let me be the star. Don't hand off some guy from Kakistan, whatever he came from.
Mm.
That's the way he should have stepped up. He could have been the captain of the team and everything else, but no, he just wanted to still become. He was still in Jordan's shadow. And even though Mike was gone for almost a year or so, but he didn't want to step up. That's the thing.
Absolutely. So the law, Lauren Williams in the building. He said the Bulls' second three-peat was tougher, though, in my opinion. Stockton and Malone pushed them both years. You know what, though? I was going back and forth between them, but I'm convinced the second three-peat team was the toughest one because, listen, the Jazz gave the Bulls everything they could handle. But the two main weaknesses, though, were two guard and center. They listen with due respect to Jeff Hornacek. I mean, he was an undersized two guard that couldn't defend Jordan to save his life. And plus, Greg Osotag, as big as he is, he had no jumping ability, and he was clumsy. He always got into foul trouble. I felt that those two positions were the reasons why the Bulls, were able to beat them because, if Malone had a bad game and if Stockton had a bad game, the Jazz were very, very beatable. But they did make
Mhm.
it. They did make it interesting, though. But also, I think we're kind of dismissing about how the Knicks, during the early '90s, though, especially when Pat Riley became head coach, how much that rivalry was kind of like similar to the Pistons, but by that time the Bulls kind of figured out, hey, we can play through this. So you know what I mean? So I think what we're gonna learn from this documentary would be, I'll ask you guys about this. What do you kind of expect when you see the documentary on the 30 for 30 in a couple of weeks? Let's start with LB.
Um, you know what? I think they took. Are they talk about the all the championship runs, or they talk about the second time around?
Maybe the second time around because they're saying the last dance, but I don't know what last dance that they're talking about. I mean, let's be honest here. I know most of it though, but maybe just be some days that they didn't talk about that we probably don't know about. But maybe it's just the last second title run or whatever. But we'll see. But what do you expect from it?
Okay, so I can see them probably referencing the '94 playoffs or what have you, where the Bulls lost to the Knicks, and they're probably going to talk about they're probably going to talk about Jordan's through the death of his dad, his baseball, what he did during this time off or what have you, and then what led to him coming back in that game against the Indiana Pacers when he wore number 45. So you have that, and they probably going to talk about the 55-point game in the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to talk about very other things. They're going to talk about the Magic series because during that second run, the Orlando Magic was the last team to beat them. That was 4-2 before before the Magic ended up getting swept in the
Mm-hmm.
NBA Finals by the Rockets.
Yep. All
So I
right.
see them talking about that, and then going to their championship run.
All right. All right. How about you, George Pay? What you think?
Well, I don't watch ESPN that much. I used to watch 30 for 30 or so often, but most of the time I don't catch it because sometimes I don't watch as much like I used to. But I got something crazy real quick, Mahari. Michael Jordan's dad was killed in my county, if you know what the county is. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, and one of the guys that was involved in it, he out. I never believe he murdered him. He was just a fall guy. They're supposed to be thinking about releasing him, and because it's been oh my God, it's almost 30 years,
Yeah.
and and they're planning on maybe releasing him. It's Daryl Green. He's one of the guys at the time. He was a boy, but now he's around my age. I even knew a lady. I used to work at this textile company, and I knew this lady. I knew the boy, and she
Mm-hmm.
told me a lot of stuff about him. But he said he was no killer. He was a pain in the ass. But a lot of people believe those boys that killed James Jordan. They were just that's just to me that's just I don't know. It's always been like suspicious how they found his body here and they cremated him, and I never really believed that. I don't know. And I don't know why he was way on this in my county. He was just only they found his car 2 or 3 miles from the county seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy though, bro. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, man. It's just unfortunate, that Michael went through that. It's losing a father like that, cold blood like that. I mean, that just sucks, though, bro. This must be
yeah.
terrible. But let's get back. Let me get back into the let me get into a particular thing that it's a kind of I've been kind of talking about with some of my people at my workplace. This problem with defense. I'm literally at my wits end, just how the NBA just took away, defense, physicality, and now you notice about the shot clock thing. When it's not after a missed shot, they put it down to 14 seconds to try to speed up the game. Like, what the hell is going on here, guys? I mean, at this point though, guys, it's like I'm just tired of just all this offense though, all this high scoring thing though, because it's most times I'm falling asleep now when watching these games right now. I'm being serious, man. I mean, I'm tired of all this high scoring though, man. I mean, LB, explain to me this though, man. Like, what the hell happened to defense, man?
Well, part of that had to do with the NBA changing the rules or whatnot. Back in the day, the NBA was strictly man to man. If you got caught like not defending your man, if you got caught not defending your man, it was illegal defense. Basically, if you got caught camping out in the paint, it was illegal defense, and that was an automatic technical foul. So back in like 2000, I believe, is when the NBA changed the rules to where they will allow more scoring. So, back in the day, players could hand check. You can't really do that no more. Guys would get roughed up in the paint, and flagrant fouls. But I tell you what. So not only you had the NBA defensive changes, but you had that Malice in the Palace back in 2004. That really tipped the scale as far as like, guys can't really be as physical as they want to be. And that's why you have James Harden going out here scoring 60 points on a given night.
Mm-hmm. Bruh, I'm telling you this though right now. If I decide to go to an NBA game right now, I might just fall asleep. I'm serious. I'm dead. I'm
Yo,
I'm, I'm serious, man.
Damn.
matter of fact, hey, the game up here, because I live in the DC area, right?
Right.
When the Houston Rockets came to town to play the Wizards, right? That was the Wizards home opener, right? The final score was 151, 148. It
Mm-hmm.
was the ninth. That game was the ninth highest scoring game in NBA history.
Why am I not surprised? Like, I just don't get it though, Brent. George Page, talk to me, man. Like,
It's what it is that the NBA is trying to be more PC. They're trying to get more of the new millennials in there. Like a lot of the people that really are fans are getting older or passing away, and the hardcore fans, are just not there anymore. And they try to get attention by, a little finessing, making it a little pretty. They're pretty much practically trying to be like the Harlem Globetrotters in a way. And that's what it is. It's just that it's just the NBA is trying to appease to the next generation, and then what it is, they're hurting their real hardcore fans. I remember was it I think it was a Nike commercial.
mm-hmm.
It was Nike, somebody, Reebok, one of them. They was like, who was that? It was two basketball players. They dressed up and they sent the rich uh, people to the into the cheap seats in the bleed section and had the real fans down in the front. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to appease to this, the new generation. I don't want about, like I said, I don't watch basketball as hard much like I used to, you know. And, I grew up in the good part of the 80s and the 90s. And,
Mm-hmm.
when, like like even football's getting like, they don't want you to, to dance and to celebrate in the end zone when you make a touchdown. Because, some guy be crying, so, that's the problem. It's like, how Brent Mack said, they got too soft. That's the problem. Let the, let these guys. That's why you'll be like, you'll see like the fighting days of Lambert and Charles Barkley and those guys. He said when you push the guy, you be like, God, bitch gets cleared out. You see that anymore. And it
Nope.
goes back to what happened with
No.
uh uh, world peace, whatever name.
Ron Artest.
Meta World Peace.
Yeah. His mama, he comes to world peace. His mama named Ron. I'm gonna call you Ron. So it just don't make sense. It's just that they just strip everything what it is about being competitive in sport. They want like yeah, I never understood like the thing like the NIT. What's the point of NIT? Not in tournament. I mean, what's the point of that?
I mean,
That's
it's
what it
just
is.
Yeah, the not invited tournament.
Yes.
not
What's the
invited
point of that?
tournament. You know what though? You know what though? LB, I'm gonna use that from now on. Not invited tournament though, because that's actually what it means. Oh, that's a good one.
But that's what it is. That's the problem. Is it's just trying to appease the new generation, and what it is that like you guys, like you and LB, who are hardcore fans, y'all just don't like it. Y'all like to see a tussle. You want to see a battle for the ball. You want to see a fight. It's like
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
what you want to see. You don't want to see some finessing and
Nope.
That's nice for a while, but after that you get tired of it. And it's like even like I'm gonna tell you this. Sometimes I even fall asleep when I'm watching porn.
Dude, why you guys say that on my channel, man? Damn it.
Well, you
God,
crazy.
Every now and then I have a slip.
George Page, man. I don't know what is in that head of yours, though, bro. You got a little,
Wouldn't want to know.
freakish mind, man.
Hey,
That's what
another thing.
All right,
Oh,
go ahead, LB. No, go ahead, LB.
another thing that we had talked about when it comes to this whole high scoring games or what have you is that you had coaches that brought this style of play from Europe over to the NBA. Remember back in like 2007 when Mike D'Antoni was the coach of the Phoenix Suns? He
Yep,
brought them up and down running gun style where hey, we got to get up a shot 7 seconds or less,
yep.
right? So the average NBA possessions or the pace of the game, 90 something possession was considered fast paced back in 2007. Now in 2019 or 2020, 94 possession is a very slow pace now. Where you got to think back in the 80s, they probably got like 70, 80 possessions in the game because, you had a lot of teams that had adopted a half court style with the traditional point guard and basically the game revolving around the traditional point guard and traditional big man.
Yep.
And you see that getting phased out now when you got guys like, Kevin Durant, that's like 6'10, 6'11, who probably played center back in the day, but he can go out there and light up from the 3 point line. And, Dirk Nowitzki and guys like that.
You know what though, LB? If they were playing in the '80s, though, they would have really provided matchup problems because they would force the big guys to come out in the paint, and then they would provide the guards the room to operate on the inside. So in a sense, they probably would have been successful in their own respective eras, but I don't think they would have survived the kind of physicality that the '80s would have demanded because in the '80s, when you went into the paint, it was a war. Like you're not getting no easy stuff, particularly when you're going against the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Pistons during that era. I mean, forget that. Go ahead, George Page.
That's why I think that's why you see more people like to watch, college basketball or basketball overseas than it is to watch basketball here in America. America's basketball is catering to the hot and ready generation. Microwave it quick, put it out, and that's it. That's what it's catering to.
You know what though? I think that's what LeBron James does. When he tries to get people to come play for his teams. You don't want no. You don't want it simmered and all cooked up. He wanted all out the drive through. It's all ready to go. Let's go. Let's move. That's what he do. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Though LB, like LeBron though is always like, listen, I don't want my stuff, simmered and down and cooked up, ready for about 30 minutes. I want my shit done in 5 minutes, in about 2 minutes. Get out. Let's go. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
Man, that's
Big Mac.
damn right. Hey, do y'all see how Ray Allen trying to grow out his hair now? LB, like,
Oh my God, man, that thing was hideous. That thing was hideous, man. I mean, George Jefferson on that, man.
Oh my God!
yeah.
It's like when you see you ever see a white guy who's balding and has a ponytail.
Oh yeah. Oh, I hated that.
Or brother who has balding, he has dreads. Just let it go. It just doesn't. If you don't have, if there's no party in the front, there's no business in the front, and you got the party in the back.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly, though, bro. That's like asking coach to try to grow out his hair, but there's not gonna be much in it. I hope you aren't listening to that, coach.
Yeah, coach. You're gonna get you next time, Mahari. I'll come on the phone and harass him for you.
Oh man.
Yes, son.
Hey, coach, if you were listening to this though, man, I'm just letting I had no involvement in what he is gonna say on Sunday. I'm just letting you know, okay? What's up with that? Oh my God, George Page, calm down with that laughter, bro. But anyway,
Like if you ever see my avatar is the Riddler, the Heath Ledger version. I mean, the Joker, Heath Ledger. I've seen that movie so many times. I remember when it first came out. It's a great movie. I would say watch it. Just not just because you're a Batman fan, because if you're a good fan of
Dark Knight.
Yes, Dark Knight.
Oh man, that movie's off the chain, man. God,
Yes.
man.
Why? Like my father was drunk and a fiend. And my mother here like not one bit.
Oh my goodness, though, man.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
The Dark Knight's a kick-ass movie, though, bro. Real talk, man.
It is.
Oh
Love good
man.
movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely, though, bro. But yeah, we're now getting down to the home stretch here, guys. But I actually was sharing a video on my channel yesterday. It was revolving around a one-on-one interview that the Athletic did with Kevin Garnett, and he referenced to his beef with the Timberwolves, which is kind of a bit closer to home because I'm from Minnesota. And he basically said, I don't do business with shady motherfuckers, which is kind of like, yeah, that's old school KG for you. But
why did he go back to him after he left the Celtics?
well, let me tell you this, though, because I'll explain in a bit of meat potatoes about it. Because Flip Saunders was the executive for the Timberwolves, and he was beginning the youth movement around Karl Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, and Andrew Wiggins at the time. And he wanted to bring in Kevin Garnett to try to help mentor those guys because it was basically Garnett was at the end of his career. You know what I mean? He was getting older. His knees were shot. And KG had a vision where him and Flip Saunders were going to try to at least form an ownership group and try to buy out the team from Glenn Taylor. But unfortunately, after Flip Saunders died, those plans went out the window, and Glenn Taylor moved to a different direction, and hired Tom Thibodeau as both the general manager of basketball operations and as coach without consulting Kevin Garnett. And since that time, KG is kind of like been on cold, basically had an icy relationship with Glenn Taylor because he felt like he abandoned the original plans in the first place without consulting him, and he won't retire his number with the Timberwolves that originally he began his career with. So, with that being said, who you side with in this case? Let's start with LB first.
First and foremost, look, Kevin Garnett number need to be retired with the Timberwolves. Period. Okay,
Yep.
whatever beef you got with whatever, that's small potatoes compared to the fact that you're disrespecting this man by not retiring his number. Okay, Secondly, I side with Kevin Garnett. All right, because I'm all that business too, not dealing with shady people either. You know what I'm saying? If I find that you a snake, you know what I'm saying? I keep the grass cut, looking up for these snakes. And if we had this idea that or this plan, and all of a sudden now since something happens, you want to go back on the plan, then you got every right to feel some kind of way. So I side with Kevin Garnett all day. Now that being said, I don't like the comments he made about Kyrie Irving and the whole Boston Celtics deal, but I'm always gonna side with Kevin Garnett. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm gonna tell you this though too. I definitely did not side with them when it came to the Ray Allen thing because I think KG was being a bit ignorant about it. Because listen, the Celtics were putting him in trade rumors every single year. What do you think Ray Allen was
Yeah,
supposed to do? What do you think Ray Allen was supposed to do? All right, the Celtics
yeah,
were
they basically were phasing him out.
there you go. And KG was so listen, I love KG, he's real as it gets, but sometimes, man, he needs to really wake up and see what's really going on here. But as far as the owner thing is concerned, I'm siding with him too. And think about this for a moment. And I'm going to send it to George Page in a minute. KG basically had no help throughout his whole career. I followed his career since the day he was drafted in 1995 as the 5th overall pick from high school. The man had Stephon Marbury for about a couple of seasons before he got the big contract, which kind of basically gave Stephon Marbury a bad taste in his mouth, and which he forced himself out of Minnesota to New Jersey. And then after that, he only had Rasha Nesterovich, Wally Zerbiak, rest in peace, Malik Sealy, and then you had Terrell Brandon, Anthony Peeler. I mean, and even that bum ass Joe Smith that basically killed the Timberwolves draft pick because remember the illegal contract took away 5 first-round picks from 2000 all the way up to 2005.
Yep. And
And
Joseph was a bust, you know what I'm saying? Because he was drafted number one overall to Golden State out of Maryland.
in the same draft class.
Yep, he was drafted number one overall. Kevin Garnett was drafted like number
Number 5.
five. Yeah, number five. That would explain why he wore number 5 when he got traded to the Boston Celtics.
There you go. Absolutely. And the only time he ever had help is when we had Spreewell and Cassell and had that great MVP year. But then after that, everything went downhill because they just did not invest enough talent around him because they kept screwing him at every single turn. So I feel for KG on that aspect because I felt disappointed too. Because before '04, we always got ousted in the first round by dominant Western Conference teams like the Rockets, who had 3 future Hall of Famers. You know what I mean? And then you had the Spurs that always won championships with Duncan and Robinson in the way. I mean, you got to understand the West was loaded during that time. But let me ask George Page on this though, bro. Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna twist it in a way where it's kind of related to the MMA. So when you have dealings with like people like like Dana White who became shady dudes though, I mean,
Yeah.
do you feel like you would feel some sort of way that kind of like how KG felt about the owner too?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like how like kind of like Chris Cyborg in with Dana White, their relationship. How you have a great fighter who's very popular, who has a strong fan base, but instead because you got in your feelings about what she said, how you felt about you, you let her go and messed up probably one of the greatest fights that could happen. That's Nunez versus Cyborg 2. It don't make no sense. And yes, that person should have the right to be mad. KJ, KG, had a right to be mad with this guy because they want to build something, develop something, and then you kind of like I'm using another because I love quote movies. I'm using another quote from Batman Begins. You want to get with somebody, you like Jagu say, you walk up behind them and stab him in the heart, and that's what he did.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree. That's a really good analogy there. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, man, Glenn Taylor has ruined the franchise for too long. I mean, he's a nice guy. I've met him personally. He's a nice guy, but he just has killed the team, though. With due respect, I mean, how do you not retire at number 21, the guy that basically carried the franchise on his back for so many years, and you screwed him at every turn? I mean, it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I feel for KG, I really do. Even though there's times where I feel like KG needs to be slapped at sometimes for some of the dumb stuff he says, though, bro. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. But so now we're gonna get into the closing statement of the show here, guys. Let me tell you this though, man. Let me tell you this though. This is really rattling my mind. How in the fuck do you not? How does ESPN tell me with a straight face that Michael Jordan is the greatest college basketball player of all time, ignoring Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Because
Man, that was disgusting, boy. I tell you, boy.
Yeah. Let me hear from George Page first because we need to hear this. George Page, explain to me, my man. Kareem
because
Abdul-Jabbar.
Michael Jordan made money for the NBA. Kareem didn't really make as much money for them. Kareem was more of an activist. He was more about pointing out the facts of racism and stuff like that. He was like Ali of basketball, and that's why. And Jordan, really like we talk about how Jordan doesn't do enough charity work. He helps the prison system, and that's what it is. He makes money. He was a franchise making money. Um, you know, uh, big buck. That they had. That's what his job was. If anybody, I think, shoot, I'm trying to think who, Green should be up there. Chamberlain,
How about Oscar Robertson back in
Oscar
Cincinnati?
Robertson,
Yep.
Bill,
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, most definitely Bill Russell, being that he was a manager and a player for the Celtics and won at least 11 championships
Yeah.
compared to Jordan
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. But I'm saying when college basketball, we're talking about college basketball.
Oh,
Yeah, but
college
yeah,
basketball.
yeah,
Oh
but
yeah, Wilt Chamberlain. Oh yeah, Wilt Chamberlain. Most definitely, he was because you remember that rivalry between him and when Kareem was still Lyle Cinder.
Yep, exactly. So let me send it out to LB though, bro, because you're about ready to go off though, man. Because listen, man, how do you ignore Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? How do you ignore Oscar Robertson? How do you ignore Bill Walton? How do you ignore James Worthy? How do you ignore Danny Manning, Kristen Leitner? They were way better players. And also, Mr. Love said it best. Pistol Pete Maravich when he was at LSU. Talk to me, LB. Talk to me, man.
Well, the only the only thing I can come up with is the fact that a lot of these people that did the voting didn't watch these guys play growing up. I think there was a lot of young cats that was on this panel, what have you, and that's the only justification I can come up with. Outside of that, there ain't no way that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar should not have been the best college basketball player of all time. This guy was a three-time champion. This guy was a two-time All NBA, not All NBA, two-time Player of the Year. Three-time All Region, All Tournament, Naismith Award winner. The guy only lost 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
His whole career at UCLA, he only lost 2 games. He was unstoppable. So the fact that they look, no doubt with Michael Jordan in the NBA is very much pretty much not in comparison, right? But when we're talking college basketball, man, hands down, Lou Alcindor is the best player of all time. ESPN definitely got it wrong on this one.
You know what, though? And another thing, though, too, there's a very, very important thing. The NCAA made rules to try to shut down Kareem. Remember the no dunking rule? You know what I mean? The no dunking rule.
The no dunking rule. Yeah, they definitely changed the rules so that man, you beat me to that, man. Damn. But yeah, they definitely made the rules out to where they try to limit Lou Alcindor.
Yep. You know
And
what?
now
Go ahead, George Page.
like I said, now you barely see players that don't dunk unless you're like under 6 feet and you don't have no jumping skills.
You damn right you don't. Like, bro, listen. He was a 3-time All-American. He averaged 26 points per game with 15 rebounds in 3 years. All right. And the other thing too is like he didn't even play his freshman year because remember the NCAA didn't allow freshman players to start on varsity level. So if he would have played all 4 years, he would have won 4 straight national titles. And he was the guy that started the Bruin dynasty because without Kareem there for those years, there'll be no dynasty. You will not hear Bill Walton's name. And this is for everybody in the chat. I know there's an older group of people in the chat that know this, but research Bill Walton's 1973 national championship game and check out that game. I'm going to give you one stat. 44 points on 21 of 22 shots in the national title game. Bill Walton, before the foot injuries, was a beast. And you can pretty much make the argument that he made the Hall of Fame because of what he did in college. But listen, with due respect to Jordan, I'm sorry, man. He is not the greatest college basketball player of all time. That was just more of a publicity thing to try to amp up their 30 for 30 documentary, from my opinion, at least. But other than Kareem, I mean, who's another great college player? Let's go with LB. Who's another great college player? What do you think, my man?
See, a great college player. Man, that's a lot, man. I mean, we can go down the list. I mean, we can, back in the '90s, we were talking like, Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson. We going back in the '80s. Obviously Sam Perkins. James Worthy, and I might be a little biased, like, North Carolina, whatever.
You know what? No,
but,
that's not like all North Carolina players, though.
Yeah.
LB, come on, man.
Because ACC, man, back in the day, man, ACC was a tough conference. Duke always had good teams with Grant Hill and Thomas Hill and Christian Laettner, Cherokee Parks, Jeff Capel,
Bobby
Early, yeah, and then, Maryland, and then back in the night, who can ever forget about Tom Childress? His name was Randolph Childress. That's what it was. Randolph Childress out of Wake Forest, and Tim Duncan, obviously, and
don't forget Len Bias. Rest in
Len
peace.
Bias, yeah, Len Bias. I was like a little boy when Len Bias played and whatnot, but yeah, Len Bias was a beast. I know Danny Manning, and I met him too. Danny Manning is the current coach of Wake Forest. I met him, and when I was out in Charlotte a couple months ago, he took his team out to David Buster's or what have you, to do a little shoot around, have a little fun and whatnot. But yeah, Stacey King. Now, not a whole lot of people remember Stacey King, but he played at Oklahoma. That's who they beat in the national championship game. He was a beast in his college days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But what were you going to say, George Page?
Like I said, there were some great players. A good part of the ACC was a strong conference. I'm still wondering why. How do you put the Fighting Irish in the ACC, where Indiana's a landlocked state, and it's just I used to remember when we come up as kids, used to watch like NC State and and Coach V and and Dean Smith and Mr. Hair Club for Men and and I grew up in that time. I don't watch as much like I used to because the players now, there's some good players, but it's not the same. It's just like with boxing or with other sports. It's just it's more pushing about because right now they try to put a plan where the college players can get paid, and I think it's kind of fair because these kids take they do get a free scholarship and they room and board, but it wouldn't hurt to give them a little money because what it does is keep the bookies from getting them in their pockets.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. No, man. I mean, that's going to be something that at least we could bring it up next week, though, too, about the college sports issues since we're stuck on quarantine and stuff like that. But you know what, though, guys, it was a great live stream. I had a great time doing it, though. So it's time to conclude the great night of a great show, though. So, but I want to say thank you to LB and George Page for their appearances, though, man. I mean, go ahead, LB. give us your last words though, man, and let the people know when you're gonna be dropping some videos with with Ticket TV and stuff.
All right, so if for those of you, I'm a correspondent for Ticket TV. So I pretty much drop content pretty much every day on this channel. I will be doing live streams on my channel as well. So I probably do a live stream on my main channel probably like once every other couple of days. With the whole pandemic going on, I try to scout around various topics like news, politics, and what have you. But my core is strictly baseball and basketball.
Mm-hmm. All right, for sure though, man. Absolutely. And one more thing, can you please tell Ticket to get his ass down here? We gotta chop this up though, man. Like tell him to come down here though, man. I've been trying to get this man to come down here. Man, he never stops working though, bro. So you gotta tell him to hit the brakes though, man, and tell him to come by and chop it up with us though, man.
Yeah, man, so how Ticket be putting that work in, what I'm saying? I'm trying to catch up with him. But hey Mahari, I hope you allow me the privilege of coming back on your podcast, man. I really enjoy your content, and
Yes, sir.
hey, we make it do what it do.
Yep, absolutely, though, man. So thank you to LP for your appearance. Mr. George Page, go ahead and give me your last words if you got anything you want to say. And also, you can say anything landish about Coach. I don't care.
Well, Coach is a habitual bus thrower under her. But anyway, besides that, thank you for having me, Abel. It's a pleasure being on here. I don't get to get on because I can't be allowed around certain people at certain times because But anyway, but like I said, my thoughts is that I like this contest. It's nice to talk about. I don't get to talk about sports as much. This whole coronavirus. I don't drink Coronas. I don't drink Bud Lights, but it's just crazy. If y'all can follow me, I have my site where I do a lot of stuff from politics, current events. Like you heard before, I'm a big fan of female bodybuilders. I post videos and stuff about birthdays and stuff with them. Currently, like I said, my sports camp like that, they pushed it back a little bit because they try to have some shows. They dropped one show, the Toronto Pro, because of it's in Canada. They want to celebrate. In Canada, want to celebrate till they get over the whole virus thing and go have a show next year. But it's just fun to talk about some outside of MMA. I don't get to talk about too many other sports as much as usually. And I'm not like a hardcore sports fan. I watch as much as often as I can occasionally. But like I said, it's nice to talk about this. Basketball, I was a big fan as a kid. I used to watch with my older brother. He passed away like about 17 years ago. He was a great man. I loved him, and he taught me a lot about sports. But like I say, it's fun. It was fun. And say goodnight to the wife, Tay Tay.
Oh, can you get over yourself though, bro? Like I'm not. Listen, man, y'all gotta calm down with that.
Y'all more like
I didn't
y'all
say
like
that, man. I just try to keep it strictly, sport. Like I ain't say that, man.
Yeah, I know.
Like pop boom out to the moon.
Oh my god, man! I cannot wait for you call in the coach's live stream. No, man, I don't know what the hell you gonna.
Yeah,
be
I
saying,
know. I
man.
like to pick on the coach every now and then. He likes it too. He likes to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely, though. But George Page, LB, thank you for your participation, though, guys. Whenever you guys want to come in, y'all are welcome to come on in here, and I'm gonna try to get the big OG Ticket to bring his ass down here and try to come chop it up with us, though, man. So, but thank you guys for your participation. It was a lot of fun, though, guys. So, y'all have a good night, guys. Okay.
Yeah, you too,
All
man.
right,
man.
All right.
I gotta say, I want to wish everybody love, peace, hair grease, and sticky bed sheets.
Oh, God. Get out of here, man. But thank you, George Page. Much love, though, man. So that was George Page and LB. We want to thank both of them, for for their participation and chopping up with those guys. So guys, you know what I'm saying. But make sure to smash the like button on the way out. So this is Abil Mahari, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the basketball community, and we out. Have a good night, guys.